Years ago, I talked with church caregivers about things to say as well as not to say on a funeral home visit. 20 minutes into the presentation, one of the participants said, "So what you're asking us to do is show up and shut up." Now that's much more blunt than I would like to put it, but the heart of that is quite close. So we're standing here at the doorway to visit a family who has experienced loss. You've probably been at a similar doorway yourself and wondered, what am I supposed to say and what am I supposed to do? You've signed the guest book. You're about to go in. What should you say? This training time is about equipping you and empowering you for just such a visit. Some how-tos when making a funeral home visit or a bereavement call. Loss and significant loss for people can be an important faith formation event, and the community of faith has an important role in these moments. Visiting and coming alongside others who have lost someone is not only an expression of care, but of discipleship. People will never forget those who show up after someone of importance has been lost. In the Christian tradition, communities of faith choose to acquaint themselves with grief. We companion one another, and especially with those who mourn, and we remind them that they are not alone. Now, we understand that practices vary immensely by region and culture, and we wish to honor and respect the different ways in which people mourn in community. Some traditions have funerals, some memorial services. Some have caskets that may be open or shut, and an increasing number are choosing cremation. It will be important for you to reflect on and discuss the context of your own ministry, as each community's practices will vary. Our focus for today, however, is your caring and companioning role for the living. While practices may vary for handling the deceased, in most cultures, communities of faith surround and visit the living grieving. They are our focal point for today. So today we're going to begin with the things to avoid. You're getting ready to meet with someone, or you are in line. What don't you say? Here are 4 things to avoid. Avoid minimizing. Avoid saying things like, "You will get over this," or "It will be okay," or "I know what you are going through." Since everyone grieves differently, you do not know what this is like for them. Number 2, avoid theologizing. Some will say, "This was God's will," or "God is in control," or "He or she is in heaven in a better place." Even if your theological tradition affirms some of these things, this may not be where the bereaved are emotionally. Avoid theologizing. Number 3, avoid avoiding. Sometimes we say, "You look great," or "The deceased looks so good," or "Tomorrow is a new day," or "Don't cry, your dad is in heaven." Each of these sentiments tend to deny the realities at hand and lean towards being bright-sided. Avoid avoiding. Number 4, avoid making it about you. Well-meaning people will often say, "Well, when I was at this funeral home," or "My sister had the same diagnosis," or "When my dad died." As a caregiver, you want to keep the focus on them and their experience, their stories, not yours. We've all done these kinds of things. We've all said these kinds of sentiments, but today is a new day. Oftentimes, the bereaved will say that the hardest part of the visitation process is what people say, so we want to get this right. We also don't want them to feel a need to care for the people who are coming through the line. We want to care for them. So keep the focus on them and their loss, not on you and your experience. So here are 10 things to say where we almost can't go wrong, and these sentiments will mean so much. Number 1, "I am so sorry," Or, I am so sorry for your loss. Or, I can't imagine what this is for you. These things communicate your acknowledgement, your affirmation of their place and their experience. Number 2, you have been in my thoughts. She or he will remain in my thoughts. We will remember Janet or Bill and name the deceased by name. That affirms the value of the one who has been lost. Number 3, we love you so much. Number 4, we don't know what to say, but we came here today because we want you to know we care about you. Number 5, your church family is here for you, and we will be here for you. Number 6, I will miss Tom. I will miss Bill. They meant so much to me. Number 7, if appropriate, I think it's fine to acknowledge this has been a long journey for you. This must hurt so much. Number 8, I have been praying for you. I will be praying for you. Number 9, I will be here for you. And number 10, you can call me anytime you want to talk, and I'll listen. All 10 of these acknowledge them, acknowledge their loss, and acknowledge your solidarity with them in that loss. And in the community of faith, that is probably the most healing and care that we can provide for them. So why are you saying these things? And what are you really saying? We are saying you matter in your pain. We remember your loved one with you, and we will not forget them. We honor you, and we respect and remember your lost loved one. You are part of our community, and we will not let you go. As the body of Christ, we are reminding each other that God chooses to be with us in these places of pain. So what can we do after the funeral? Oftentimes, community members mobilize and rally immediately after someone passes. But in the days and weeks following, people can really feel the loss and absence because the community of faith is done with the loss in ways that the grieving are not. Here are 3 simple ideas for you to think about, talk about, and explore whether they are worth considering in your unique context. Number 1, you could say at the visitation, I would like to do something for you, but I know this is not the week. Next week, can I call you and check in? If you're up for it, I'd love to have coffee or a visit. But then as a caregiver, it's important that you follow through if you make that commitment. When you see them shortly after their loved one's death, they're likely crowded by people and emotions. But a week later, the crowd is gone. By showing up, by following up, you are reminding them that they are not alone. Number 2, use available technology and enter into your calendar a reminder. That reminder could be a week after the passing, it could be a month, it could be 3 months, 6 months, or a year. And then initiate a call or a contact to the bereaved. They will remember that forever, and they will be thankful. People receive lots of attention in the days of a funeral. A week later, a month later, 3 months later, is often when the loneliness and a lack of attention really becomes pronounced. Just know that cards and flowers can go a long way, and many grievers hold on to those cards and expressions of kindness for days and weeks and months after the loss. A simple set of words from the heart or a meaningful card can be treasured by the grievers. Symbolic gifts are often more important than sharing a book. Number 3, in the event of a highly significant loss, on the 1-year anniversary of the loss of a spouse or a child, our church will send flowers and a note that says, "Remembering with you." Oftentimes, these first anniversaries are a significant milestone, so honoring it and remembering it is a significant act of love on the part of the church's care ministry. I am often astonished at how much that gesture means to people that their anniversary day of their loss was remembered by members of their community of faith. Finally, don't try and fix them. Don't rush them back to normal. Don't try and solve it, and don't provide unnecessary advice. We find ourselves in a caring role wanting them to be okay, and we want their life to be normal again. But it takes time to find a new normal. It's easy to wish for that normalcy too quickly and expect that or treat them with that kind of expectation, and they will feel it. In the Gospel of John, chapter 11, Jesus hears of Lazarus' illness, and while en route, he becomes aware that Lazarus has died. The first marvel of this miracle story is the length that Jesus goes to be present, listen to, and grieve with Mary and Martha. Jesus does not rush toward resurrection, but he remains with the bereaved and the community that is surrounding them. Jesus visits them and he weeps with them. I cannot think of a better model for the community of faith that wishes to convey the very one who is the resurrection and the life.